The Battle of Angamos was a naval encounter of the War of the Pacific fought between the navies of Chile and Peru at Punta Angamos on 8 October, 1879. The battle was the culminant point of a naval campaign that lasted about 5 months, as the Chilean Navy steamed with the sole mission of eliminating its Peruvian counterpart. In the struggle, 2 armored frigates, led by Commodore Galvarino Rivas and Navy Captain Juan José Latorre, batted and later captured the Peruvian monitor Roscar, under Rear Admiral Miguel Grau Seminario. After the loss of the frigate Independencia at Punta Cruce, Grau sought to challenge the outnumbering Chilean fleet, adopting a harassing strategy, focused in inflicting as much damage as possible while avoiding a full-scale engagement. As Grau evolved along the Pacific coast, he was chased by Admiral John Williams Reboledo, who had been ordered to catch Grau no matter what. His failure cost him his commission, and was replaced by Rivas. With a different strategy, Rivas managed to encircle Grau at Punta Angamos, about 80 kilometers north of Antofagasta. Falling in a trap set by Rivas and Latorre, Grau was forced to present battle after ordered the corvette Union to escape to Peru. Latorre, aboard Almirante Cochrane, engaged first. Taking advantage of the powerful Armstrong-type batteries, Latorre shelled Huescar for almost 2 hours, and Grau was killed in action. However, his flagship continued the fight and allowed Rivas to engage her too with Blanco Encalada. After battered for almost 3 hours, the Huescar, unable to sustain combat, was boarded and captured, and the battle ended. The result was a complete success for the Chilean Navy, and secured its dominant position for the rest of the war. It allowed to prepare the invasion of the Tarapacá Department, carried out on early November. Chilean Navy dominance off the Pacific coast contributed significantly to success in the following land campaigns across the Atacama Desert that ended with Lima's fall on January of 1881. The Huescar was repaired and served under the Chilean flag until its decommission, and now sits as a floating museum in the port of Talcahuano. Background: after the naval battle of Iquique of 21 May, the Peruvian fleet lost the armored frigate Independencia to a wooden schooner, Covadonga. This obliged Rear Admiral Miguel Grau to renounce to attack and to adopt a harassing strategy, avoiding by all means a direct encounter with the bulk of the Chilean Navy. Aboard the monitor Roscar, Grau made several incursions into Chilean waters, successfully challenging enemy's domination along the coast. Under his command, Huescar sank or captured 14 transports, one of them carrying an entire cavalry regiment. This last setback was considered a humiliation by the Chilean public opinion, and sparked several protests against the government. Besides, the commander of the Chilean fleet, Juan Williams Reboledo, resigned on 5 August. His poor command left his ships incapable of sailing without important reparations. The Chileans lost almost a month putting the vessels in combat conditions again. Therefore, the newly appointed commander of the Navy, Commodore Galvarino Rivas, couldn't sail until September. By 30 September, Rivas was notified that the corvette Union was sailing to Panama to escort 5 small ships with torpedoes brought to United States. The Chilean fleet sailed again on 1 October, now carrying War Minister Rafael Sotomayor. The preceding week, the government had ordered the fleet to hunt down the Huescar at all cost. But, on 7 October, Rivas was informed that Grau had been sighted sailing north at Coquimbo, halfway between Arica and Valparaiso. Therefore, a new strategy was set up to capture the Peruvian monitor. Divided in 2 divisions, Rivas with the slower ships would move close to shore, while Latorre would sail about 35 kilometers from shore with the faster ships. So, the fleet was divided as it follows. 1st Division, Commodore Galvarino Rivas. Armored frigate Blanco Encalada. Commodore Galvarino Rivera and schooner Virgin de Covadonga, Lt. Captain Manuel Ora La Transport Machas Cusino, Lt. Captain Augusto Castleton. 2nd Division, Commander Juan José Latour Armored Frigate Almirante Cochrane, Commander Juan José Latour Corvette O'Higgins, Lt. Captain George Montalvarez Transport Low, Lt. Captain Javier Molinas Gasacha. Chilean strategy. On the 1st of October, Rivera gathered his officers and communicated the order of hunting down the Peruvian vessel at Arica. The same day, Grau and his flagship Huáscar ordered to sail along the coast as far south as Coquimbo, accompanied by the corvette Union. Since the Chilean fleet sailed close to the shore and the Peruvians were farther out in the open sea, both formations didn't spot each other. At Mejillones, on the 7th of October, a plan was approved to deceive the Peruvian ships. Rivero's division would wait for Grau at Antofagasta while Latour would set up an east-west barrier-like formation about 20 miles from shore. If Rivera could spot Huáscar, he would follow and keep her from retreating to south until Latour could engage. During the night, the Peruvian warships were sailing off the Chilean coast to Arica. When they saw the lights of Antofagasta, Admiral Grau decided to engage any Chilean vessel at the port, intending to inflict some damage. At 1:10 h. on the 8th of October, Huáscar searched the bay without encountering any targets. She came up with Union at 300 hours, and both resumed their northward heading. At the same hour, lookouts on Blanco Encalada saw two smoke columns on the horizon. Simultaneously, Grau was informed that there were 3 smoke columns to north. Both enemies spotted each other and the Peruvian ships turned back south. Rivera ordered a speed reduction of his to make Grau think it was possible to turn back north and sail for Peru. At 5:40 h. both Peruvian ships began to slowly turn once again north. Then, Rivera increased the speed of Blanco Encalada to get closer to the Peruvians and to discourage Grau from turning back south. At 07:15 hours, steaming northward, the 2 Peruvian vessels spotted smoke columns ahead. It was the incoming Latour's division. Since the Peruvian Union could manage 13 knots, she was able to sail northeastward and escape, but the Huáscar had to maintain course and fight the struggle. Around 8:30 h. the gap between Huáscar and Blanco Encalada reduced to 3,000 meters, and after Latour modified his route, Cochrane was closing into off Punta Angamos at 9:25 h. Grau opened fire over Cochrane, beginning the engagement. Latour didn't answer, focused on approaching to Huáscar from its stern. About 15 minutes later, Cochrane retaliated from about 200 meters. Her 3 starboard cannons provoked serious damage on the monitor right from the start. The very first shot pierced Huáscar's turret, wounding the 12 crew members manning the 300-pound cannons. Another shot perforated the armor just above the waterline, cutting the left rudder chain and leaving Huáscar temporarily adrift. Meanwhile, Cochrane sustained little damage. Grau's flagship was now listing hard to starboard and was hampered also by a deformation in the hull acquired when she rammed Pratt's Esmeralda at Iquique 5 months ago. However, barely 10 minutes later an emergency rudder was set up by Huáscar's crew. At 10:00 h, a shot from Cochrane struck the bridge cabin, killing Admiral Grau and his adjutant, Diego Ferre. Command then fell to Captain Elias Aguirre. By that time, Huáscar's stern was on fire, since at least 2 more grenades penetrated from the rear and shattered the rudder wheel, and the forecastle was devastated too. Lt. Captain Gauna's gunners caused heavy casualties among the Peruvian crew. The Chileans were using Palliser-type armor-piercing rounds, which exploded right after penetrating the hull. At 10:10, the Huáscar's flag was brought down from its hoist by the intense gunfire. Latour ordered a ceasefire, thinking that the ship had surrendered. However, the monitor kept up its pace and within minutes an unidentified officer hoisted the flag again, resuming the combat. Meanwhile, the crew of the Huáscar had again repaired the rudder wheel. At 10:22 hours, Blanco Encalada arrived to the fray. A shot from 200 meters perforated the Huáscar's artillery tower, killing almost all of the sailors within and damaging the rightmost cannon. Another shot from Cochrane passed through the officers' quarters and wrecked the emergency rudder station, which had been disabled already twice before. The Huáscar now could sail only in a wide semicircle to starboard. Once rudder control was regained, Aguirre tried to ram the Cochrane. Latour was also maneuvering to ram the Huáscar, but the Peruvian ironclad, whose steering was again enabled, suddenly veered to port and both ships passed by each other. Another projectile pierced Huáscar's artillery tower 12 minutes later, killing everyone inside, including Captain Aguirre. Command of the ship went to Lt. Pedro Guerrazon, who in conference with the remaining officers decided to scuttle the ship rather than allow it to be captured. At 10:54 hours the order was given to evacuate the wounded from the engine room and open the main condensatory to scuttle the ship and to prevent its capture. At 10:55 hours Huáscar's flag chain was caught by the intense gunfire. The Chilean warships, noticing that the Huáscar was decreasing speed, mustered their boarding parties. At 11:08 hours, 14 to 20 sailors boarded the Huáscar, without resistance. They closed the main condensator water leaks and extinguished several fires while the prisoners were transported to the Chilean vessels. Acting Commander Pedro Guerrazon pointed out to the Chilean officers that the flag was on deck together with the chain because they had all been cut off by the enemy shots. Thus the flag was never brought down, nor had the ship been surrendered by the Peruvians. One of the Chilean officers observed that something similar happened to the Chilean ship Magallanes. Consequences: in less than 3 hours, the Chilean Navy eliminated the menace of the Peruvian fleet. With Huáscar's capture, plus the previous loss of Independencia at Punta Gruce, the firepower of the Peruvian Navy was drastically reduced, and Chile incorporated the Monitor to its fleet. The loss of both vessels, plus the death of Admiral Grau, Peruvian's best naval officer, gave the Chilean Navy an uncontested control of the seas, bringing the sea campaign of the War of the Pacific to its end. The decisive victory at Angamos allowed the Chilean army to freely pursue the plan to attack the Allies, and the land invasion of Peru and Bolivia began.